You know, most people don't think about spinner baits and riprap going together too well, but I tell you, there's a certain time of year they're like peanut butter and jelly. And that's in the spring when the shad are spawning, usually late spring, April, May time frame. Spinner baits can be really good on riprap banks like this when you've got the shad moving up and down that spawning. And it typically is a bite that is early in the morning, like the first couple hours of daylight, and those shad will be spawning along the riprap, and you can get up there and just wind your spinner bait along the rocks and just crush a big stringer of bass right off the bat in the morning. Well, this is what I like to throw when I'm on a shad spawn. Just a little, it's like a 1/2 ounce spinner bait, a Yamamoto spinner bait. I like to have nickel blades, like a 4.5, and a trailer hook is really important, I think, when you're fishing on riprap with a spinner bait. There's really not a whole lot to get hung up on, so there's not a reason not to use a trailer hook, and you'll catch several bass on that trailer hook that just kind of come up and nip on it. Now, one way you can tell that the fish are there, or that the shad are there spawning, is as you're reeling your spinnerbait back, you'll feel the shad actually nipping at your blade and at your bait. When you've got that going on, that's the time to throw a spinnerbait on riprap. There's a little one. Now that one, see, now that one bit the trailer hook. That's why you use trailer hooks. And he's bleeding a little bit, but he'll be okay. Generally, when I'm fishing the riprap, I'm trying to parallel it with my spinner bait. You want to keep your bait in the strike zone as long as possible. You know, some riprap is deep, real steep. It'll drop right off into 20 feet of water. Others is, you know, shallow. And it also depends on the lake level too. But those shad will spawn on any kind of riprap. They just like a good hard rocky bottom to spawn on. So as I'm fishing the spinnerbait on a shad spawn, it's basically a slow roll. I'm not burning the spinnerbait fast. I'm winding it slow. I'm looking for those shad to be bumping my spinnerbait and telling me that they're there. And a lot of times in the morning especially, you'll catch them right up tight, close to the bank. But as the day goes on and you get up into the late morning, even midday, the shad leave. The shad just spawn like at night and early in the morning. So in the middle of the day around noon, the shad aren't spawning, but the bass are still there. They're not going to go anywhere. They typically drop down a little bit deeper. I'll go to a little heavier spinnerbait, like maybe switch to a 3/4 ounce, and I'll fish the spinnerbait way down out of sight, slow roll it. A lot of times you'll feel the spinnerbait bouncing off rocks. There's a lot of irregularity on the bottom in here. Sometimes you'll have one great big boulder that might hold fish in the middle of the day when they kind of pull back and they're not actively chasing the shad. So anytime you've got an irregularity like that, that's obviously going to be a great target. I guess that's an old bridge or something there, but anything like that breaks up the monotony of just a straight riprap bank is definitely going to be a target that fish are going to hold on. So try to key on stuff like that, especially up in the day. In the morning, the bass are just roaming up and down this bank, chasing the shad as they spawn, and you're liable to get bit anywhere the first hour or two of daylight. But up in the day, they'll drop back and hold on some of the irregularities along the riprap.